There's a real estate related meme that's been going around on Facebook that has been shared 35,000 times, probably more than that by now. And the question is the meme right? Well, today I've got a special guest, Alfredo Feigelmuller with PrimeLending, and we are going to go behind the meme. This is a very special episode of Monday Mornings with Mark. Hi, I'm your host, Mark J. Schmidt of RE/MAX Country and MoveMeMark.com, where I help you get the most out of the real estate market and your home. If you're new here and you like what you see, be sure to hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so you don't miss out. So there's a meme that's been going around about real estate and specifically about getting pre-qualified for a loan. And I wanted to find out if the meme was right. Now, I have my own opinions, but I wanted to bring in the experts. That's why here sitting next to me is Alfredo Feigelmuller of PrimeLending. Alfredo, for anyone who's not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So as Mark said, my name is Alfredo Feigelmuller, and I am the branch manager here at the East Brunswick office of PrimeLending. PrimeLending is a national top 10 purchase lender, fabulous company to work with, and I've been in the business and working with Mark for many, many years. I've had the pleasure of interacting with you and helping many of your customers in the past.
Well, and I'll tell you this, I've been using Alfredo as my primary lender for many years. And I've used him personally, so I not only recommend him to my clients, but I've used him personally 3 different times. So I can attest to not only the level of service he gives, but the fact that he knows what he's talking about. So
thank you.
With that being said, let's talk about what this meme actually was. So here's the meme that I saw on Facebook that's been shared 35,000 plus times. It goes like this. We need a law stating that if you pay $1,200 a month for 12 months in a row for rent, banks must acknowledge the fact you can afford to pay a $750 mortgage, mainly because $1,200 is more than $750. But is that right? So, Alfredo, how do people actually get qualified? Because it makes sense when you look at the numbers and you say, gee, I can afford $1,200 a month. Why can't I afford $750 a month?
Yeah, so on the surface it makes sense, right? Because it sounds like obviously I'm going to be paying less. But when banks look at qualifying a customer, what we want to do is we want to make sure that the sustainability and the ability to repay that mortgage is going to be it's going to be there, and it's going to be something they can sustain through the years to come. So part of what that number doesn't include, or something that we're not seeing in that math, is the fact that you'll have other things to account for, such as taxes. Property taxes are a big chunk of that monthly payment that needs to be considered. Homeowners insurance, HOA, homeowner association dues that are due monthly. You also have regular mortgage insurance if you're putting less than 20% down payment and you choose a monthly mortgage insurance plan. So there are other factors that will certainly play into that qualification, not even talking about your regular revolving debt, which factors into.
So that's the thing. You've got revolving debt, which is anything like credit cards,
car payments, student loans,
okay.
Personal loans, any home equity lines of credit, things that will show up on your credit that are revolving or secured loans.
So what are because I know that, I don't know if it's different lenders or if these are just guidelines, but what are the guidelines for, I know there's something called your debt to income ratio. What are kind of the guidelines that the lenders look for when they're qualifying buyers?
It's a great question. So debt to income ratio, if we look at just the debt to income portion of this qualification piece, right? Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which are the agencies that securitize these loans, look at this debt to income ratio as a barometer of the ability for the customer to repay the debt. So what happens is, let's say for example that systems nowadays are automated, right? So it's an automated underwriting system that will calculate and look at compensating factors and things that will play into the ability of the customer to carry this payment safely. So debt to income ratio, using a number like 45%, means that no more than 45% of your monthly gross income should be allocated towards the proposed housing payment plus any revolving debt. What is the proposed housing payment? Principal, interest, taxes, insurance, HOA dues if they apply, plus your revolving credit or revolving debt. All of that added together, divided by your monthly income, should not represent more than 45%. There are factors or instances where you can go a little bit above that, but the lower you are, the better off you are, because that means that you'll have, let's say the other 55% that we're not using, that's taxes, food, general living expenses, and ability to save, which is very important.
Well, so you know what's interesting is that I think a lot of people forget that the lenders, like I've had plenty of clients turn to me and say, you know what, I'd like to buy a house, but I don't know if I can afford it. And I tell them, once you speak to a lender like Alfredo, they can get you pre-qualified, and they're not going to let you be unable to afford your home. You let them know, what your income is, and listen, they want to see proof. Lenders aren't just going to be like, okay, you say you make $500,000, no problem, we'll take your word for it. So you give them, your proof of what you're making, and then they're going to take that, apply those ratios, so you're not going to be in a situation where you're not going to be able to pay for your home. Now, on top of that, remember, the lenders don't just want you to be able to pay your mortgage back, but also, listen, you need to be able to enjoy your life. So just like Alfredo said about having savings, if say you want to go on a vacation sometime, say you don't want to be relegated to eating, hot dogs and ramen noodles for the rest of your life, you're going to be able to eat what you want because they're not going to overqualify you for the home that you're looking to buy. So one thing that I had done a little research on, because obviously here in New Jersey, housing is not exactly cheap. There are other parts of the country where, home prices are not as, let's say, robust as they are here in New Jersey. So just to give you an idea, remember, the meme said that if you pay $1,200 a month in rent, you should be able to afford a $750 mortgage. Well, here's the numbers. Let's look at them. A $750 mortgage payment, if you were using prevailing interest rates, which at the time of this recording are about 5.25%. So if you look at the numbers, to get to a $750 payment, you would have to take a mortgage for no more than $135,000. Now, there's two ways to actually get to that number. You could have such a large down payment that you could get the mortgage part of your home buying experience to be under $135,000. So you could buy a $350,000 home. If you have $215,000 to put down, then you take a mortgage for $135,000. Or you only look for homes that are under $135,000. But, and there's always a but, you've got what we call PITI, I call it pity. You've got your principal, your interest, your taxes, and insurance. So when you look at a meme like this that says, the mortgage payment should be $750, you're not even taking into account the fact that you have to pay property taxes and you have to pay insurance on that home, and that you also might have, like Alfredo mentioned, HOA dues or anything else like that. And then, you know what? Listen, if you want to have heat in your home or air conditioning, water, things of that nature, cable TV, internet, there's a lot of different expenses that come up, but again, that's the job of people like Alfredo to make sure that you qualify. You're going to be able to pay your home off and, listen, build equity and enjoy your time in your new home. So, Alfredo, with that being said, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you and talk to you, if they had a mortgage question, what's the best?
So one of the best things that anyone can do is to have a conversation up front before you go out and endeavor into falling in love with a property that you want to buy and you passionately want to obtain, right? Because it's going to help ground yourself into the numbers and the facts, and you're going to be able to target your search when you go out looking for a home with Mark. So to get a hold of me, my direct number is 908-693-5941. If you text me, call me, I'm always happy to set up some time. We can have a discussion, review your specific situation. Everyone is different. It really, when you look at qualifying for a mortgage and you look at interest rates, I often hear people say, hey, what's the rate today? It's such a common question. It's so hard to pinpoint because nowadays everything is specific to the individual. And we want to make sure that when we're talking numbers for you, that we are looking at your specific situation. I know that your uncle, your friend, your brother, somebody else got a higher rate, a lower rate, a different program. There's reasons for that. It's because everyone has a different qualifying picture. So through that conversation, we can certainly help a customer arrive at their ideal scenario.
And one thing I'm going to do, in the description of this video, you're going to find a link to Alfredo's website. So not only does Alfredo's website have a lot of great information for you there, but it's got this wonderful Apply Now button. So all you need to do is go there, hit the Apply Now button, and it will guide you through the application process. This is the most important part of buying a home because you need to get pre-qualified first for two reasons. One, you want to find out exactly what you can afford. Number two, you don't want to start looking at homes and then fall in love with a home and then find out, hey, you don't actually qualify for a home like that. So make sure you get pre-qualified first. Like I said, go visit Alfredo's website and he'll take it from there.
And one last thing is that when you present that offer, ultimately, you're going to need to provide a letter to the listing agent and the seller of the home showing that you've gone through the steps of getting not only pre-qualified, but nowadays it's such a competitive market that, I know that you often recommend your clients to get an actual approval. So that would involve just basically the same process that we do for a pre-qualification, because we're very thorough up front. We look at income docs, we look at asset docs, we look at credit, we run automated underwriting. We take it a step further and put the whole file in front of a live underwriter so that they can review, approve the loan, subject to finding a property, and then you're really well prepared when you go out to shop for that home.
And especially in this market where we have so many buyers who are out right now, if you're not fully approved, it can be tough to get your offer accepted. And I'll tell you something, even when we're not in a hot seller's market, it's just a good idea to take that extra step, and then you have that peace of mind so you know, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm not going to have any hiccups as I'm trying to buy my next or first home. So now listen, first of all, thank you, Alfredo, for coming in. It's always a pleasure having you. Now listen, if you have questions about the home buying or home selling process, there's a fantastic resource. It's my website. You can find me at www.MoveMeMark.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you missed our last episode, I've got it right here for you. And here's another episode that YouTube thinks you should watch. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that circle and subscribe so you don't miss out. And I'll see you next time for more Monday Mornings with Mark. You have a great week.